Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It's good to see here all of you today. My name is Vitali Krestianchik, and I am a BIM manager in Creative Production Union Pride. If you looked at the agenda, I was supposed to be here with my colleague, Elena Miznikova, our senior architect, but unfortunately she couldn't came to this event. This is part of our working process. Suddenly she couldn't came here because she must go travel to Japan to attend a workshop with our international partners. So I will try to do it by myself. Our presentation is called Evolving with BIM, since we're absolutely certain that it was building information and modeling that helped our company to grow from 4 to 80 people in 4 years. I will try to show you that there is no need in holding on to one single software, that you can achieve better results by using AFC or other formats with the Open BIM approach. So let's go. And a few words about me. I started my career as an architect, like most of you, I know. But with time, I focused on the BIM management because I realized that it's exactly what I like to do the most. Therefore, it's not just a job for me, it's take a biggest part of my life. BIM and architecture became my passion, inspiration, and something I look forward to every single day. Today, Creative Production Union Pride has around 80 highly qualified employees located in 4 different Russian cities, with the main office in Moscow, with more than 40 professional architects on the team. Our main areas of expertise are master plan development, architectural, engineering, and structural solutions, interior design, and cost estimation. We are constantly working in cooperation with the foreign architectural offices, connecting the approach to work with the realities of the Russian market. Pride can act as a general designer or a contractor, since we always try to involve highly qualified consultants, regardless of the software they use. And my first example of our work would be a big residential complex in Moscow called Seliger City, where we served as a general designer. And informational modeling was used for successful money management and estimation of all possible expenses. MLA Plus from Netherlands developed the concept design, which had 3 stages of construction. At the moment we are already at the third and the final stage. Our client is known for very clear and strict requirements for the BIM model. On one hand, having detailed guidelines had made our job a bit easier, but on the other hand, we had to change our own workflow to adapt to all these demanding requirements and save some money for the client. Architectural concept was developed in ArchiCAD, SMEP in Revit. The master plan was conducted in Civil 3D, and the client was given all the model details through the Navisworks. Some of you might not know this, but we have a very specific norms and regulations regarding duration of the sunlight exposure in the Russian residential buildings. For this reason, along Kutuzovgrad, a residential complex, became one of the most tricky and challenging projects, because complicated shape of the building were very difficult to adapt to all the aforementioned regulations. As a result, we had to use a special plugin, Luciola, created by our colleagues in Bosch, especially for this project, to automatically gives us a detailed estimation of the duration of natural light in every window, in every single apartment of the complex. Another example is a big social project of the healthcare facilities. BIM came at the forefront in the project, where we needed to put the people first. And in this case, the most important factor is optimal convenience and logistics for doctors and patients. We also had to visualize and introduce the project in the video form with the help of Twinmotion in connection with ArchiCAD. As a state project, it had to be adapted for the perception of the government officials, doctors, and citizens. We couldn't use only good old-fashioned visualizations for them, because all these people are neither architects nor commercial clients. Naturally, our project presentation for them was supposed to be crystal clear and easy to understand, since you can imagine that our typical architectural schemes can be pretty hard for perception for them. I recently mentioned our experience with international collaboration. Let me start with the most publicly acclaimed project, where we acted as local partners for Zaha Hadid Architects, the Smart City competition for Rublovo-Arkhangelskaya territory. There we used our previous BIM experience in calculations and applied it to estimate project numbers of one of the most Russia-specific conditions, an enormous scale of given territory. We're talking a smart city of 700 hectares, or 4 million of square meters. We found ourselves in a situation where we had limited time and a master plan of a huge scale. However, we successfully completed the entire smart city project using smart technologies to choose the most efficient economical option of construction on such big territory. Not to brag, but our project is one of the 3 winners, and a part of it will implement it in the nearest future. Well, we had another interesting project of the housing stock renovation and resettlement program in Moscow. In cooperation with Zaha Hadid Architects, we designed the redevelopment project of the part of Kuzminki district. Once again, we faced the situation where the ambitious project of our international colleagues had to be modified according to the brutal reality of the Russian laws and regulations. We used BIM here as means of communication with our British colleagues. It helped us visualize all the specifics of the Russian regulations and convey them in a unified form of a BIM model for our partners. But it took us several trips to London to explain all the peculiarities of Russian norms and regulations and develop the right master plan. With the help of Open BIM, we were able to marry 2 different approaches, the HA Rhino Grasshopper and our use of ArchiCAD. Another natural force that we were able to tame with the help of BIM was the northeastern winds prevailing in the city of Novorossiysk, where we not only took part in yet another competition, but also won it. Thanks to the Open BIM approach, it was possible to visualize the wind atlas for the region and therefore modify the shapes of the building and configuration of the master plan accordingly. The winning master plan puts Novorossiysk on the global and the regional map as an attractive business and touristic destination. And now let me proudly introduce our key project in our portfolio, the Rhythmic Gymnastic Palace, in the heart of Luzhniki Sport Complex in Moscow. The facility was officially opened just a few months ago, and you have already seen it before, yeah? That's the project chosen for the ArchiCAD 23 cover, and with this reason, Graphisoft also invited us to Las Vegas, which has to be mentioned somewhere, because Vegas, guys, it's a very extraordinary city. And as for me, during this particular project, I realized exactly what I want to do in the future. BIM design has become the center of my work. This project is considered by many to be an excellent example of open BIM interaction. In many ways, I agree with that. The facility is unique in its architectural and structural solutions. A number of companies were involved in development of the project. Our company was responsible for the architectural and technological parts and the master plan as well. So, where does the design start? With a sketch, with an idea, with a technical brief? As far as this particular project goes, everything started with a notion that the building should remind visitors of the rhythmic gymnastics. Several sketches were made, and on their basis, we developed many different variants of visualization of the palace. Today's clients want to get everything at once, and often set their own standards, including for the modeling, but this project initially had no BIM requirements. However, all participants immediately realized that no one was able to do it without 3D modeling. Moreover, no one agreed on this. We got the first MP drawings in DWG just in 2D, but accidentally pressing Shift mouse button and at the same time we in AutoCAD, wow, there were 3D elements in the file. And as soon as we approved the sketch of the building, we decided to create 3 models for the main disciplines at the concept stage: architectural in ArchiCAD, structural in Allplan, and engineering in Revit. Thanks to this, at the very beginning, it was possible to analyze a huge amount of data and approve important decisions rather quickly. For example, one of the main ideas of the architectural concept was large wooden load-bearing beams of the roof, which were supposed to be visible in the interiors of the arena and training halls. But as soon as HVAC specialists made preliminary calculations in Revit model, it turned out that the cost of maintaining the microclimate of wooden beams was almost the same as the cost of maintaining the rest of the complex. At this stage, the model was not really well developed yet. There was still a lot to do, but imagine if we faced this problem at the stage of construction documentation. Scary thought. It would be so much to redo. And for further development of the project, we decided to replace the roof structures with a metal frame. At the same time, the project had many roof design options, and we were starting to mix up it. By the way, due to the fact that we didn't have any BIM requirements for the BIM model, there was an interesting incident with the metal frame model. Many small items has incorrect classification in AFC files, and we couldn't correctly configure automatic import. The level of detail in model in Tekla was very high. We even wrote an email to our engineers. Why there are no threads on the screw nuts? Really, not every software can work with so many 3D elements. But still, we wanted to upload absolutely all these elements to ArchiCAD because they had to be visible in interiors. As a result, these models were sent to us with DWG 3D, and then after opening in Rhino, we saved them as GSM objects. Other than that, the interaction with AFC completely satisfied us. A huge number of teams and software used in the design of the rhythmic gymnastic palace. This is an example of the real Open BIM. Even the architectural model, for more convenience, had to be divided into parts: main architectural elements, interiors, separate file for MAP and metal frame models. At this project, we decided not to develop a single file for publishing. At the same time, up to 15 architects were working in the same ArchiCAD project. Someone connected to the project remotely, sometimes from other cities and even countries. BIM Cloud, also known as Teamwork, helped us a lot in this case. During the first months of the model exchange, we often met with the contractors and discussed all the necessary parameters, and as a result, we got AFC translators for import and export, which satisfied all participants. We also decided to split the main models into smaller files so that each specialist could import what he needed by himself. But actually, not every model was perfect. There was very overloaded files I've seen. For example, one contained such detailed equipment that even manufacturers' logos were modeled in 3D. After all, it's very important to have requirements for level of detail. And of course, how could a project move forward without checking for collisions? After the first exchange of the models, we found about 2,000 of them. In the end, we reduced their number to a minimum, and the most important for these is the choice of the one who makes decisions of collision correction. An example from another project. We found a lot of critical collisions. Models were returned to specialists for revision. New exchange, and suddenly there were even more collisions. What happened? It turned out that everyone did a good job. Engineers moved air ducts to fit exactly into the openings, and architects relocated openings so that MEP elements went through them. Super. In dealing with Open BIM, BCF was very helpful to us. It's a cross-platform messaging format with many other features. If you are not using it yet, I highly recommend it, seriously. This allowed us to begin a quick exchange of information about necessary changes in the model. And of course, the most eye-catching element of this building is its roof. We are often asked how did we manage to create such a unique shape of the roof? Well, you know, our main assistance in that was Rhino and Grasshopper. And here is the final Grasshopper script, which creates the shape of the roof, as well as its individual parts, such as decorative roof footing, layout of panels adjacent to them, panels of the main part of eaves, and other elements. At first, the roof script was based on a conceptual form imported from 3ds Max, and then it was rebuilt using simple polylines loaded from a DWG file. In this project, Rhino and Grasshopper were used not only to create a form, but to develop construction and manufacture various details of roof as well. After mounting rough roof covering, point clouds were constructed and changes were made to the layout of the panels so that during the installation process everything will fall into place. While searching for the ideal dimensions of all roof elements, we tested a variety of shapes and sizes. And in the end, to cover the eaves, we chose the most optimal one, the triangle. We were also able to achieve a very high typification % of all roof covering and eaves elements, which seemed impossible at first. Furthermore, the roof model from Rhino was analyzed for wind and snow loads. Then a special mock-up was tested in aerodynamic tube. And after receiving the results, it was corrected also using the Grasshopper script. In the end, we got the most optimal roofing option, and it became much more elegant. Also, it decreased in area by more than 1,000 square meters. The client was very happy. For this project presentation and for use at various exhibitions, a very detailed physical building modeling based on an ArchiCAD model was created. But most of the time, BIMX was used to cooperate with the client and coordinate the project. Thanks to this application, the client could receive detailed information on the early stages and actively collaborate with the architects. BIMX allowed us, without organizing additional meetings with contractors, to agree on many solutions that had a very positive effect on the design and construction schedule. Also, we actively use BIMX during architectural supervision on the construction site. Our experts carried a tablet with a fresh model and could verify data with completed parts of the structure. And in the end, we get a fully constructed building, which is 100% corresponds with what was designed. We integrated the new sports and recreational facility in the existing master plan of Luzhniki complex, the historical center of sport in Moscow. We achieved everything we had planned. And the biggest challenge and the greatest achievement of this project obviously became its roof. We got a perfect roof surface without any equipment, only with a water drainage system hidden in a curve. And we were able to get the ideal golden pattern of the eaves, which shimmers in the sun and creates fluttering ribbon effect. Once again, we faced strict deadlines with very little time to work on the building with such a unique shape. And once again, we chose Open BIM, and we were not disappointed. The Rhythmic Gymnastic Palace is named after an outstanding coach, Irina Vina-Rusmanova, and has already opened its doors to visitors. The first competition of young gymnasts have already been held, opening a facility for training future world stars of rhythmic gymnastics. These past 4 years for Pride were challenging and even tough at times, but at the same time existing and inspiring. By solving different kinds of tasks, we have managed to find our own way of running a business and develop 3 main principles of doing it: multi-platformity, collaboration, agility. And of course, a good sense of humor. It helps our company to stay close-knit and creates an inviting brainstorming environment. Thank you for your attention today, and big thanks to Graphisoft for the opportunity to share our experience with you. Zapraszamy do Moskwy.